Well, my next guests know something about cramming a great story into just a couple minutes, so let's get at it. I'm joined by two veteran Story Slam storytellers, Julia Ivanisova. Welcome, Julia.
Hi.
And Melanie Rodriguez. Welcome. So, both of you are primarily visual artists. I'm curious, Melanie, how did you get into like a storytelling mode, and how different is it from the visual work that you do as an artist?
Um, I've always been a very dramatic person,
Mhm.
and I met Babs because Cork Studios, which is a giant warehouse in downtown, most of the studios in the warehouse are visual art, and they had a giant event where all the artists were showcasing their artwork, and I went there for my visual interest and found Babs on this little booth talking about a thing called story slams, and I was instantly hooked.
We should say Babs is Barbara Colacello. She's the one who organizes these story slams. She's been on this program a bunch before. Julia, you're also telling stories in a second language. How difficult is it to be participating in a story slam when your native language is Ukrainian?
Yes, English is my third language. I know Ukrainian and Russian, but my English it's still not very good, and it really was very challenging when I comes. And we have improv classes in Babs Lab, and this has helped me to be more confident and to tell the stories. I think maybe 2 years before, I even can't imagine that I can perform on a stage.
Yeah, and you actually won, I guess, second place at a recent story slam.
Yes.
Yeah, so wonderful. And Melanie, I think you won a grand slam. Is that right?
Yes. The last Grand Slam for 2024, I had been telling stories all year, every month, and I got in because of a technicality. And I ended up
Take
winning.
it. It's okay.
Yeah.
What do you find works as a storyteller? What do the audiences respond to best?
Audiences come to hear stories to feel like they're not alone. So I find on the story slam that I won, it wasn't a huge extravagant story. It was like little old me in my room reading a comic. But for me, it was like the most important thing then, because imagination is so important, and being in my own space and using my imagination is so important, and you lose that over time. And I guess that struck a chord in people, and I think that's why I won. People want to be brought back to a place that maybe they haven't been back in a while.
Yeah. And so stories can be very small and intimate. And yet, Julia, you had to flee Ukraine during the Russian invasion. And so you have
Yes.
stories that are really quite
Yeah.
powerful and also very significant.
Yeah, some of them reflect my experience from Ukraine when a war began. And I do some art about this. I tell stories about this because it's really very hard, but a very important part of my life.
Yeah. What do you get out of storytelling personally?
Uh, I think I feel a big support from people here when I tell the stories, and it's like healing for me when I can to share this experience and to tell what happened. It's really very important for me, and I'm very happy that so supportive and nice people come to Babs Lab. I always like this experience.
Yeah. The theme of this upcoming story slam, Melanie, is Rebel Bloom, and it's sort of celebrating stories of transformation and resilience. Do you go with a story in mind? Do you know what you're going to be speaking about?
Yes, I uh, have been open 2 years. I have a medical massage studio here in Jacksonville, and opening that up, being open, getting it to a place of success has been a challenge for me, especially as a young woman. I've had to kind of like pull myself up by the bootstraps, despite a lot of commentary in my direction and a lot of predisposed ideas of what massage therapy is.
Mhm.
So succeeding and not having, I guess, that community to back me up has felt like rebelling and blooming all at the same time.
Yeah. How about you, Julia? Do you have a story in mind when you go?
Yes, I will tell a story.
about when war began. We moved with my another friend to one part of Ukraine was what was not so dangerous. However, we was in the beginning, and we begin some business with Ukrainian symbolic and Ukrainian art on the T-shirts, and we do some charity from this business, and this business very healing us. Like we not think so much about what happened around us, and we focus on the doing something to help another people and to do some, like it was little my art too, because I create all these designers in Photoshop, and it was uh, like I say that art always heal myself.
Yeah. Well, the event is at Babs Lab. It's the March Story Slam. It's this Friday, tomorrow,
Yes.
at 7:30 to 10:30 on King Street. You get tickets at barbaracolichello.com/register. We got a link on our website because that's a lot to spell. Thank you so much for being here, Julia, E, even Isova. Thank you, and Melanie Rodriguez. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you for
it.
having us.
All right.
Thank
And
you.